Why me? In the deepest, quietest moments of your pain, that's the question that echoes, isn't it? When the world presses in, when the diagnosis comes, when the betrayal stings, when the loneliness feels like a physical weight, you look up into what feels like an empty heaven and you ask, God, where are you? The silence that follows can be deafening. It can feel like abandonment. It can feel like proof that you've been forgotten. But what if that silence isn't silence at all? What if that feeling of absence is actually the most profound sign of his presence? A 20th century saint, a man who bore the wounds of Christ on his own body, saw this pain not as a curse, but as a calling. He saw suffering not as God's rejection, but as God's fingerprint. St. Padre Pio's message turns everything you think you know about your own struggles completely upside down. And understanding it might just be the key to surviving them. If you've ever felt that your trials are a sign that you're doing something wrong, stick around. You are closer to a divine secret than you can possibly imagine. Our modern world is built on a single, powerful promise: the elimination of discomfort. We have apps to soothe our minds, pills to numb our bodies, and endless entertainment to distract us from any hint of inner turmoil. We are taught, from birth, that a good life is a life free from pain. Happiness is sold as a product you can buy, and suffering is seen as a technical problem to be solved, or worse, a sign of personal failure. If you're suffering, the world says, you must have made a wrong turn. You didn't manifest hard enough. You didn't follow the 5 easy steps. You're not on the right path. This philosophy creates a terrible trap. Because when suffering inevitably arrives, as it does for every single soul on this earth, we are left completely disarmed. We feel not only the pain itself, but the shame of it. We feel that our life has gone off script. Padre Pio looked at this modern obsession with comfort and saw it for what it was: a profound spiritual sickness. He knew that a soul that has never been tested is a soul that has never truly grown. He understood a truth that we have forgotten: the battlefield is where the strongest soldiers are made. To understand his radical view on suffering, you have to understand the man. Francesco Forgione, later known as Padre Pio, was not a distant theologian writing from a comfortable library. He was a man who lived in the furnace of affliction. From a young age, he was plagued by severe illnesses that baffled doctors. But his physical suffering was just the beginning. For 50 years, he bore the stigmata, the visible, bleeding wounds of Christ's crucifixion on his hands, feet, and side. This wasn't a metaphor. It was a constant, physical agony. Beyond that, he endured relentless spiritual attacks, battles with demonic forces so intense they would leave his body bruised and broken. He was a man who lived on the cross. So when Padre Pio speaks about suffering, he speaks with an authority that cannot be dismissed. He isn't offering platitudes or empty reassurances. He is reporting back from the front lines of the spiritual war. He is telling us what he learned in the crucible, a place where God felt both terrifyingly distant and intimately present, often at the very same time. His life is the proof of his message. The greatest trials are reserved for those God has chosen for the greatest missions. The first truth Padre Pio reveals is that suffering is God's chisel. Imagine a block of raw, unformed marble. It holds the potential for greatness, for breathtaking beauty, but it is trapped within the excess stone. The sculptor arrives. He takes up a hammer and a chisel. To the marble, this is a violent, brutal attack. It is being struck, broken, chipped away. It is a process of pure agony. The marble, if it could speak, would cry out, "Why are you doing this to me? Leave me alone." But the sculptor, who sees the masterpiece within, continues his work. He is not destroying the marble, he is liberating the angel trapped inside. This is how Padre Pio saw our souls. We are that block of marble. Our pride, our attachments, our selfishness, our ego, this is the excess stone. And suffering, in the hands of the divine sculptor, is the tool used to chip it all away, to reveal the masterpiece he created us to be. Padre Pio once said, "You must not be so sensitive about your trials. God wants to sanctify you, but you are not willing. You want to be a saint, but you don't want to be hammered. Your pain is not random. It is the precise, intentional, and loving work of the master artist, shaping you into something eternal." This leads to one of the most powerful and misunderstood concepts in Christian spirituality, the idea of offering it up. In our world, suffering is waste. It's a dead end, a negative on the balance sheet of life. But in God's economy, it is currency. It is treasure. Padre Pio taught countless souls that their pain, when united with the suffering of Christ on the cross, gains an infinite, redemptive value. Think about it. A headache, a financial worry, a deep emotional wound on their own. They are just burdens. But the moment you consciously say, "Lord, I offer this pain to you, for the conversion of sinners, for the souls in purgatory, for my family," you transform it. You turn poison into medicine. You take a meaningless agony and you infuse it with divine purpose. Padre Pio called this the secret to sanctifying every moment. He knew that a single tear, offered with love, could have more power to change the world than the grandest sermon. Your suffering is not a private prison. It is a key that can unlock grace for souls you will never even meet. It is not a sign of your weakness, but the source of your hidden strength. Now we arrive at the heart of the matter. Why does God allow his most beloved children to be attacked, to be tried, to be thrown into the storm? Padre Pio's answer is startling. He said, "The devil is like a rabid dog tied to a chain. Beyond the length of the chain, he cannot seize anyone. And you, therefore, keep your distance. If you get too close, you will be caught." But what if you're not just getting close? What if your very existence, your very faith, is a threat to him? The devil does not waste his time on those who are already walking his path. He does not attack souls that are lukewarm, comfortable, and spiritually asleep. He focuses his fury on the souls that shine brightest. He attacks those who are closest to God, because they are the greatest threat to his kingdom of darkness. So if you are facing intense spiritual warfare, if you feel besieged by temptation, despair, and chaos, do not think it is because God has abandoned you. It is the opposite. It is proof that you are a soldier on the front lines. It is a sign that your light is so bright it is hurting the eyes of the enemy. The devil's biggest mistake is attacking a soul like yours, because it only reveals how important you are to God's plan. God is not a timid father who wraps his children in cotton wool. He is a king raising warriors. And a king gives his most difficult, most dangerous missions not to his weakest soldiers, but to his most trusted, most valiant champions. He gives them to the ones he has been training, strengthening, and preparing for that very moment. Your suffering is that mission. It is a sign of his profound trust in you. He has looked at you and said, "I can trust this soul with this cross. I know they have the strength, with my grace, to carry it." It feels like a burden, but it is a badge of honor. He is allowing you to participate in the most important work in the universe, the work of redemption. Padre Pio often reminded people, do not be afraid. Jesus is with you. He is in you. He will never leave you. The very fact that you are being tested so severely is the ultimate proof of his presence. He is right there in the trenches with you, fighting alongside you. An enemy would not lay siege to an empty fortress. The fact that you are under attack proves that a great treasure lies within you. There's a story of a wealthy merchant from Naples who had it all: a thriving business, a beautiful family, respect in his community. Then, in a series of catastrophic events, he lost everything. His business collapsed, his fortune vanished, and his health failed. Plunged into a darkness he had never known, he felt utterly abandoned by the God he had always prayed to. In desperation, he made the long journey to see Padre Pio. He poured out his story, his voice cracking with anguish. "Padre," he cried, "why has God done this to me? I have been faithful. I have been charitable. And now, I have nothing. He has taken everything." Padre Pio listened patiently, his eyes filled with a deep, penetrating compassion. When the man was finished, the saint didn't offer simple condolences. He leaned forward and said something the merchant never forgot. He said, "My son, you have it all wrong. You think God has taken from you. No. He has finally emptied your hands of pebbles so that he might fill them with diamonds." The merchant was stunned. Padre Pio continued, "God allowed your worldly attachments to be stripped away so that you would finally seek the only treasure that matters. Your bankruptcy is your salvation. This suffering is the greatest gift God has ever given you." This brings us to the most difficult trial of all, the feeling of God's complete and utter absence. It's a spiritual state known as the dark night of the soul. It's not just pain. It's a sense of desolation, where prayers feel like they hit a brass ceiling and the heavens are silent. This is the ultimate test. And it is here, Padre Pio would insist, that God is closer than ever before. He explained that God sometimes withdraws the feeling of his presence, the spiritual consolations, the sense of warmth and comfort, for a very important reason. He does it so that we learn to love him for who he is, not just for the good feelings he gives us. It's like a parent teaching a child to walk. For a time, they hold the child's hands, offering support and security. But eventually, they must let go. In that moment, the child feels abandoned and terrified. But the parent hasn't gone anywhere. They are right there, watching with love, waiting to catch them. They have let go so that the child can discover their own strength. This spiritual darkness is not abandonment. It is a secret embrace. It is God trusting you to love him in the dark, to walk by faith and not by sight. It's so easy to mistake purification for punishment. When we suffer, our first instinct is often to think, "What did I do to deserve this?" We see it as a penalty for our past sins. But Padre Pio urged people to see it differently. Punishment is retributive. It's about paying for a past wrong. Purification is restorative. It's about preparing for a future glory. Punishment is a judge's sentence. Purification is a surgeon's scalpel. The surgeon cuts, and it hurts, but the goal is not to harm. It's to remove the disease and bring about healing and new life. God, the divine physician, often allows us to suffer to purify our souls. He is burning away the dross, the imperfections, the hidden attachments that hold us back from a deeper union with him. Padre Pio wrote, "If God lets you fall, be sure that it is for a greater good. He will pick you up again. The fire you are in is not the fire of hell, which destroys. It is the fire of the Holy Spirit, which refines. It is making you stronger, purer, and more capable of reflecting his light to the world." It hurts, but it is a holy fire, and it will not consume you. So how do we put this into practice? How do we endure our own cross with this kind of faith? Padre Pio's advice was always intensely practical. First, he stressed the absolute necessity of prayer. Not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't. He said, "In times of aridity, do not be discouraged. It is the time when the soul is closest to God. Your prayer in the darkness is more pleasing to God than 1,000 prayers in the light." Second, acceptance. This doesn't mean being passive or giving up. It means surrendering your will to God's will. It's the simple but profound prayer. Lord, I don't understand this. I don't like this, but I trust you. Let your will be done, not mine. This act of surrender takes the power away from the pain. Third, stay close to the sacraments. For Padre Pio, the Eucharist was the source of all strength. It was the moment where heaven and earth meet, and where we receive the divine life needed to carry our cross. And finally, do not waste a single tear. Consciously, deliberately, offer every ache, every worry, every moment of suffering to God. Turn your trial into a prayer. Perhaps the most beautiful part of Padre Pio's message is that our suffering, once it is embraced and offered, does not just get left behind. It becomes part of our testimony. It becomes the very thing that allows us to help others. A person who has never known grief cannot truly comfort the grieving. A person who has never known failure cannot truly encourage the one who has fallen. Your wounds become your credentials. They give you an authority and an empathy that a life of ease could never provide. Your scars prove that you have been in the battle and, by the grace of God, you have survived. They become a source of light for others who are lost in the same darkness you once knew. You can look them in the eye and say, with absolute conviction, I know how you feel. And I know that you can get through this, because He is with you. In this way, God transforms your greatest pain into your greatest gift to the world. Your brokenness, repaired by His grace, becomes more beautiful and stronger than it was before. Let's return to that initial question. That desperate cry into the void, where are you? The proof of His presence is not in the absence of the storm. The proof of His presence is in the fact that you are still standing in the middle of it. The fact that you are still breathing, still fighting, still hoping, still listening to a message like this. That is the miracle. The fact that your faith, even if it's the size of a tiny mustard seed, has not been completely extinguished, that is the proof of His presence. He is the one sustaining you, even when you cannot feel Him. He is the anchor holding you fast, even when the waves are crashing over your head. The suffering itself is the sign. It is the arena where He is performing His greatest work in you. It is the sign that you are not forgotten, but have been specifically chosen. Your pain is not a cosmic accident. It is a divine appointment. It is the holy ground where you, like Jacob, wrestle with God and walk away with a limp and a blessing. So, if you are in that place of pain right now, hear this message from the humble friar of San Giovanni Rotondo. Your suffering is not a sign of God's absence. It is the undeniable proof of His intimate, transformative presence. He is not punishing you. He is perfecting you. He is not abandoning you. He is arming you. Hold on. Do not be afraid. Offer it all to Him. Padre Pio's final words on the matter were simple. Pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. Your darkest hour is the doorstep to your greatest grace. What part of this message resonated with you the most? Share your own experience with faith in hard times in the comments below. Your story might be the one someone else needs to read today.